So our next topic is about predictive value of a test. So predictive value of a test is a key measure in diagnostic and screening decisions. So the predictive value of a test is a crucial concept in evaluating the usefulness of diagnostic and screening tests, particularly in clinical settings. So it helps answer the question, given a positive or negative test result, how likely is it that the patient actually has or does not have the disease? Next, factors influencing the predictive value. So we have two factors. First is the disease prevalence, and second, we have test sensitivity and specificity. So for disease prevalence, the prevalence of a disease in the population being tested significantly affects the predictive value. So higher prevalence generally leads to higher positive predictive value and lower negative predictive value. So for test sensitivity and specificity, so pag sinabi natin sensitivity, it is the ability to detect those with the disease, and specificity naman, it is the ability to detect those without the disease. So yung sensitivity and specificity of a test influence its predictive value. So higher sensitivity and specificity typically lead to higher positive predictive value and negative predictive value. So next, importance in clinical decision making. So we have three importance: treatment decisions, patient counseling, and resource allocation. For treatment decisions, predictive values help the clinicians determine the likelihood of a disease based on test results. So guiding treatment decisions. Patient counseling naman, predictive values help clinicians explain the implications of a test result to patients, so managing expectation and reducing anxiety. And resource allocation, predictive values can help prioritize further testing and interventions, optimizing resource allocation. So for example, imagine a test for a rare disease with a prevalence of 1%. The test has a sensitivity of 90% and specificity of 95%. So this means that high sensitivity, it's good at detecting disease when it's present. So 90% yung chance of a positive result if someone has the disease. Tapos pag high specificity naman, yung 95% natin, it's also good at ruling out the disease. So meaning 95% na chance of a negative result if someone doesn't have the disease. So however, the positive predictive value of this test would be relatively low due to the low prevalence. So, di ba yung prevalence ng natin dito is 1%. So this is because even with good sensitivity and specificity, the number of false positives would be high, making it less likely that a positive result actually indicates the presence of the disease. So key concepts, we have the positive predictive value or the PPV, and we have the negative predictive value or the NPV. So pag positive predictive value, it is the probability that a person who tests positive actually has the disease. And it is calculated as PPV is equal to true positives divided by true positive plus false positive. On the other hand, pag negative predictive value naman or the NPV, it's the probability that a person who tests negative actually does not have the disease. So it is calculated as true negative divided by true negative plus false negative. So we have an example here, table 5.7, the predictive value of a text. So the table shows the result of a screening test applied to a population of 1,000 people. So it's a 2x2 table, which means it has two rows. The two rows, it's the result of the screening, which is positive and negative, and two columns. The two columns are the population. We have the disease and no disease. So for positive, this row represents the people who tested positive for the disease. So for negative naman, this row represents the people who tested negative for the disease. And for the disease column, this column represents the people who actually have the disease. And for the no disease, this column represents the people who actually do not have the disease. So, makikita natin dito na 80 people tested positive. So, they actually have the disease or tinatawag natin tong true positive. Tapos, yung 100 naman, 100 people tested positive but don't have the disease. So, ito yung tinatawag natin na false positive. Tapos, sa row naman na negative, 20 people tested negative but actually have the disease. So, this is called the false negative. And 800 people tested negative and don't have the disease, or this is called the true negative. So, the PPV, or the positive predictive value, is calculated as true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. So in this case, the PPV is equal to 80 divided by 80 plus 100. 100 is equal to 80 divided by 180 is equal to 44%. So true positive yung 80 divided by true positive 80 plus false positive na 100. So 80 divided by 180 is equal to 44%. So this means that 44% of the people who tested positive actually have the disease. So for negative predictive value naman, it is calculated as true negative divided by true negative plus false negative. So in this case, the negative predictive value is equal to 800, which is a true negative divided by true negative, 800 po ulit. Tapos yung false negative po natin dito is 20. So 800 divided by 820 is equal to 98%. So this means that the 98% of the people who tested negative actually do not have the disease. So this example shows that even with a screening test, there will be some errors. So we have the false positive and false negative. So the PPV and the NPV, or the positive predictive value and the negative predictive value, are important measures for understanding the accuracy of a test, particularly in clinical settings, where decisions about treatment and further testing are based on test results. So, yung table, makikita natin sa table po, it does not tell the prevalence of the disease sa population, which is yung prevalence is crucial sa pag-interpret ng PPV at NPV. So, we also have predictive value is influenced by external factors. So, first, we have the prevalence of the disease and the specificity of a test. So, pag sinabi natin prevalence of the disease, this is the proportion of people in the population who actually have the disease. It's the proportion pag sinabi natin prevalence. Tapos, yung specificity naman, this is important especially when the disease is infrequent. So, let's differentiate the sensitivity and specificity. So, pag sensitivity, it is how well the test identifies those who have the disease. On the other hand, specificity, how well the test identifies those who don't have the disease. So, pag sensitivity, those who have the disease, and pag specificity, those who don't have the disease. So next, we also have the relationship between the prevalence and the predictive value. So when a disease is common or high prevalence, a test with even moderate sensitivity and specificity can have a high positive predictive value, or the PPV. So this means that a positive test result is more likely to be accurate. However naman, when a disease is rare or low prevalence, even a test with high sensitivity and specificity can have a low PPV. So this means a positive test result is less likely to be accurate. So, to sum up, higher prevalence, meaning higher din yung positive predictive value. So, when a disease is common or high prevalence, a test with even moderate sensitivity and specificity can have a high PPV. So, pag lower prevalence naman, lower naman yung PPV niya. So, when a disease is rare or low prevalence, even a test with high sensitivity and specificity, pwede siya magkaroon ng low PPV. So why is this important? So first, for resource allocation, so in screening programs, a high positive predictive value is crucial for efficient use of resources. So it means that fewer people who test positive need further investigation, reducing cost and unnecessary anxiety. Next, for decision making, understanding the relationship between the prevalence and predictive value helps clinicians make informed decisions about treatment and further testing. And lastly, for patient counseling, it's important to explain the implications of test results to patients. So considering the potential for false positives, especially when the disease is rare. So next, we have illustration here about the relationship of disease prevalence to positive predictive values. So disease prevalence, we have 1% and 5%. Test results, as you can see, we have positive and negative. Column, sick, not sick, totals, and the positive predictive value. So to further, the table assumes a test with sensitivity of 99% and a specificity of 95%. So sensitivity 99% means the test correctly identifies 99% of people who actually have the disease. And the specificity 95% means the test correctly identifies 95% of people who do not have the disease. So sa rows naman, we have the disease prevalence. The table shows two different disease prevalence. We have the 1% and 5%, yung nandito po kanina sa gilid. And this means that in the first scenario, 1% of the population has the disease, meaning 100 people out of the 10,000. And in the second scenario, 5% of the population has the disease, or 500 people out of 10,000. So sa column, we have the test results and totals. So test result, the table shows the results of a test categorized as sick, those who have the disease, and not sick, those who do not have the disease. So under totals, the totals column shows the total number of people in each category, sick or not sick, and the total number of people who tested positive or negative. Next, we have the positive predictive value. So PPV is calculated as true positive divided by the true positive plus false positive. So the PPV tells you the probability that a person who tests positive actually has the disease. So to analyze the table, prevalence, we have 1%, and the true positive is 99. So 99% of the people, of 100 people who have the disease are correctly identified. So pag false positive naman, we have the 495. So 5% of the 9,900 people who don't have the disease are incorrectly identified as positive or false positive. So PPV 99 divided by 99 plus 495, yung false positive, is equal to 17%, meaning only 17% of those who test positive actually have the disease. So 17% lang yung may totoong may sakit or meron yung disease. So next naman, sa 5% na prevalence natin, sa true positive niya is 495. So 99% of the 500 people who have the disease are correctly identified. And false positive, we have 475. 5% of the 9,500 people who don't have the disease are incorrectly identified as positive. So to compute for the PPV, 495 divided by 495 plus yung false positive na 475, we have 51%. So meaning 51% of those who test positive actually have the disease. So prevalence matters. The table clearly shows that the positive predictive value is significantly higher when the disease prevalence is higher. So pag mas mataas daw yung disease prevalence, mas mataas din yung result ng ating positive predictive value. So we have the 5% versus the 1%. So low prevalence meaning low PPV. So even with a very good test, high sensitivity and high specificity, a low prevalence leads to a low PPV. So this is because there are more false positives, making a positive test results less reliable. So pag high prevalence naman, meaning mataas din yung ating positive predictive value. So when the disease is more common, a positive test result is more likely to be accurate. So even with a test that has some errors. So as you can see, or pag ma-observe nyo po, the positive predictive value increases with prevalence. So yung PPV daw nag-increase with the prevalence. So as the prevalence of the disease increases, the PPV also increases. So this means that when the disease is more common, a positive test result is more likely to be accurate. So NPV decreases naman with prevalence. Ito po. Ito yung positive test, ito yung negative test. So NPV decreases with prevalence. As the prevalence of the disease increases, the NPV decreases. So habang tumataas yung prevalence, bumababa naman yung ating NPV. So this means that when the disease is more common, a negative test result is less likely to be accurate. So the steep slope for PPV, the PPV curve has a steeper slope than the NPV curve. So this means that the changes in the prevalence have a greater impact on the PPV than on the NPV. Next, we also have here another example or illustration, table 5 to 9, calculations of predictive values for neural tube defects or NTD for alpha-fetoprotein test in high and low-risk women. So we have here the high-risk women and the low-risk women, the AFP test, which is abnormal and normal and total, the neural tube defects, the normal column and the total column, and we also have the predictive value column. So sa rows, we have the high-risk women and the low-risk women. So sa high-risk women natin, these are women who are considered at higher risk for having a pregnancy affected by the neural tube defects. So this could be due to the factors like family history, previous pregnancies with NTDs, or certain medical conditions. On the other hand, low-risk women, these are women who are considered at lower risk for the neural tube defects. So for columns, we have the EFP test or the alpha-fetoprotein test, pregnancy outcome, and total. So for alpha-fetoprotein test, the test results are categorized as abnormal and normal. So yung abnormal suggesting a possible neural tube defects, and yung normal naman not suggesting a neural tube defect. So pregnancy outcome, the actual outcome of the pregnancy is categorized as NTD or neural tube defect, or normal or no NTD. So for totals, the totals column shows the total number of women in each category. We have the high risk or low risk, and the total number of women who tested positive or negative. And under predictive value, table shows the predictive value for each group calculated as true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. And the PV tells you or tells us that probability that a woman who tests positive actually has the pregnancy affected by neural tube defect. So, ito po yung table kanina. So, high-risk women, we have the true positive. 87 women tested abnormal and had a pregnancy affected by NTDs. And for false positives, 18 women tested abnormal but had normal pregnancies. So to compute for the PPV, 87 divided by 87 plus 18, which is the false positive, is equal to 82.9%, meaning that 82.9% of high-risk women who test abnormal actually have a pregnancy affected by NTDs. For low-risk women, we have true positive, we have 1 to 8. 1 to 8, women tested abnormal and had a pregnancy affected by NTD or the neural tube defect. And for false positive, we have 179 women tested abnormal but had normal pregnancies. So to calculate or to compute for the PPV, we have 128 divided by 128 plus 179 is equal to 41.7%, meaning 41.7% of low-risk women who test abnormal actually have a pregnancy affected by neural tube defects. Next, we also have the relationship between specificity and predictive value. So in these cases, a test with high specificity is crucial for reducing the number of false positive. A high specificity means the test is less likely to incorrectly identify someone as having the disease. So we have the positive predictive value and specificity. So for PPV, it's the probability that the person who tests positive actually has the disease, or in other words, it tells us how likely a positive test result is to be accurate. On the other hand, specificity is the ability of a test to correctly identify those who do not have the disease. So a high specific test is good at ruling out the disease. So, specificity is the key. So, when the prevalence of a disease is low, pag mababa daw yung prevalence, yung specificity ng test becomes particularly important sa pag-determine ng ating positive predictive value. So, pag mataas yung specificity, mataas din yung ating positive predictive value. At pag mababa naman yung ating specificity, mababa din yung ating positive predictive value. So the higher the specificity, the higher the PPV. The lower the specificity, the lower the PPV. So example, imagine two tests for a rare disease. So test A has high sensitivity, 99%, and high specificity. So parehong mataas yung kanyang sensitivity at specificity. Tapos yung test B naman, mataas yung kanyang sensitivity pero mababa yung kanyang specificity. So both tests are good at detecting the disease when it's present or high sensitivity. However, test A is much better at ruling out the disease because it is high specificity. So in a population with low prevalence of a disease, test A will have a much higher PPV than test B kasi mababa yung specificity ni test B. So test A is less likely to produce false positive. So specificity is crucial. So the specificity of a test is particularly important in determining the positive predictive value, especially when the disease is rare. So pag mataas yung specificity, mataas din yung ating PPV. So pag bababa yung ating specificity, mababa din yung ating PPV. So next figure, we have the relationship of specificity to positive predictive value or PPV. So we have scenario A, B, scenario C, and scenario D. So to further understand this, let's have first scenario A. So in scenario A, we have prevalence of 50%, meaning 500 out of 1,000 people have the disease. So since 1,000 yung ating population, tas 50% yung ating prevalence. So 500 out of 1,000 people have the disease. And for sensitivity, 50%, meaning that the test correctly identifies 50% of the people who have the disease. And for specificity, we also have 50%, meaning the test correctly identifies 50% of people who don't have the disease. So to compute for the PPV, we divide 250 divided by 500 is equal to 50%. So 250 divided by 500. Since 50% of 500 is 250. So interpretation, and this scenario, the test has a PPV of 50%, meaning that if someone tests positive, there's a 50% chance na meron talaga silang disease. So this is because the prevalence is high. So since 50% yung ating prevalence, so the test has moderate sensitivity and specificity. specificity. So for scenario B naman, the prevalence is 20%, meaning 200 out of 1,000 people have the disease. And for sensitivity, 50%, meaning the test correctly identifies 50% of people who have the disease. Specificity is 50%, meaning the test correctly identifies 50% of people who don't have the disease. So to calculate or to compute for the PPV, you just need to divide 100 divided by 500 is equal to 20%. So in this scenario, the PPV drops to 20%. So this is because the prevalence is lower. Since the prevalence is 20%, kahit na mataas yung sensitivity at specificity niya. Kung mababa yung prevalence, so bababa din yung kanyang PPV. So 100 divided by 500. Next, scenario C. We have prevalence of 20%, sensitivity of 90%, and specificity of 50%. So yung 20% the prevalence, meaning 200 people or 200 out of 1,000 people have the disease. So sensitivity 90%, meaning that test correctly identifies 90% of people who have the disease. And specificity 50%, meaning the test correctly identify the 50% of the people who don't have the disease. So to compute for the PPV, 180 divided by 580 is equal to 31%. So this scenario highlights the importance of sensitivity. So even though the prevalence is low, kahit mababa lang yung ating prevalence, 20%, the high sensitivity na yung sensitivity na naman natin daw is mataas. So it will result to a higher number of true positive, leading to a higher PPV. So 31% yung ating PPV. So for scenario D, we have prevalence of 20%, sensitivity of 50%, and specificity of 90%. So 20% prevalence, meaning that 200 out of 1,000 people have the disease. Sensitivity 50%, meaning that the test correctly identifies 50% of people who have the disease. And specificity 90%, meaning the test correctly identifies 90% of the people who don't have the disease. So to compute for the PPV, 100 divided by 180 is equal to 56%. So divide natin yung 100 sa 180. 56%. So interpretation is this scenario highlights the importance of specificity. So since yung specificity natin is 90%. So kahit mababa yung ating sensitivity, pero mataas naman yung ating specificity. So it significantly reduces the number of false positive, leading to a higher PPV. So 56% yung ating na-compute na PPV dito. Next, we also have the relationship of specificity to predictive value. So we have here table 5 to 10 relationship of specificity to predictive values. So specificity 70% and 95%. As a result, we have positive and negative and totals. So we have column seek and column not seek, totals and predictive values. So to further explain this, so scenario, we have the disease prevalence. So the table assumes a disease prevalence of 10%. So 1,000 out of 10,000 people have the disease. So test result, the table shows the result of a test with two different specificities. We have 70% and the 95%. So for columns, we have specificity, test result, and total. So specificity, this column shows the specificity of the test, which is the ability to correctly identify those who do not have the disease. Test result, the table shows the result of the test categorized as sick, or those who have the disease, and not sick, those who don't have the disease. So for totals, the totals column shows the total number of people in each category sick or not sick, and the total number of people who tested positive or negative. And predictive value, the table shows the positive predictive value, or the PPV, calculated as true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. So the interpretation, the PPV tells us the probability that a person who tests positive actually has the disease. So specificity of 70%, ang true positive dun is 1,000. So all 1,000 people with the disease are correctly identified. So false positive naman, we have 27. So 30% of the 9,000 people without the disease are incorrectly identified as positive. So incorrectly identified, so false positive yung 27. And to compute for the PPV, true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. So 1,000 divided by 1,000 plus 27 is equal to 27%. So meaning only 27% of those who test positive actually have the disease. So specificity naman na 95%. So true positive 1,000. False positive 450. So yung 455% lang dun sa out of 9,000 people without the disease are incorrectly identified as positive. So to compute for the PPV, 1,000 divided by 1,000 plus 450 is equal to 69%, meaning that 69% of those who test positive actually have the disease. So in this case, specificity matters. So the table clearly shows that the PPV is significantly higher when the specificity of the test is higher. So pag mataas yung ating specificity, mas mataas din yung result ng ating PPV. So makikita naman natin dito yung result ng PPV ng 70% at 95%. So for false positive, a higher specificity leads to fewer false positive, which directly improves the PPV. So that would be all about my topic. So next, Miss Kimchi will discuss the next topic.
So the next topic is reliability of tests. It is also known as repeatability of tests. It is another aspect of assessing diagnostic and screening tests. It is the ability of a test to provide consistent results if repeated. If a test cannot reproduce the same results, its usefulness is limited and regardless of sensitivity or specificity. So here are the factors that can affect test reliability: intra-subject variation, intra-observer variation, inter-observer variation. So, isa-isahin natin yan. So, unahin muna natin yung intra-subject variation. The values obtained in measuring human characteristics often vary over time. The same person can get different results at different times. So, ito yung variation na pwedeng magbago every time yung results. Like, for example, dito yung blood pressure measurement. Pag dito sa part ng basal time, pag kakagising mo lang, pwedeng magbago yung BP mo. And pag lowest R, pwede din magbago yung BP mo every time. So, ito yung variation na pwedeng magbago every time. Often vary over time. So, the next one is intra-observer variation. This variation occurs between two or more readings of the same results made by the same observers, or differences in results when the same observer interprets them multiple times. So, the second one is, ito naman yung iisang tao lang ang nag-o-observe, same and magkakaiba ang result as they repeated yung pag-read nila. Like for example, yung radiologist, yung in first consultation nila or checkup, wala pa siyang nakikitang complications. And then the following checkup, meron na siyang nakita. And nakita natin na nagbago yung result niya. And it portrays dito sa statement sa example na, this is a second opinion. At first, I thought you had something else. ito, it portrays din po itong example dito. Next one is, the third one is inter-observer variation. This is variation occurs between observers. Differences in results when the different observer interprets the same test result. So, ito naman yung maraming tao yung nag-observe. Kunyari, radiologist 1, radiologist 2, and magkakaiba yung mga, and yung niread nila is same result, pero magkakaiba yung nakuha nilang result. Kasi nga, syempre, different yung perspective nila kasi magkakaiba yung nag-observe doon na test. So, we move on for computing overall percent agreement. So, let me define. Overall percent agreement, OPA, is a measure of how much agreement there is between two or more raters. So, it shows a schema for examining variation between observers. So, meron tayong example dito na table. The two radiologists observed X-ray, instructed na i-categorize yung test result into 4 categories, which is abnormal, suspect, doubtful, normal. And nakalagay na dito. And in this table, ito yung readings ng number 1, the radiologist, and ito rin yung readings ng radiologist 2. So, ang titingnan natin dito, since percent agreement, it means both radiologist agreement yung ginagamit, yung hinahanap natin. So, itong AFKP, ang same sila ng observation dito ng dalawang radiologist. After doon, i-add po, ito na po yung formula, i-add lang po natin over the total readings of X-ray, lahat ng X-ray, and we multiply by 100 para maging percent siya. Next one is computing overall percent agreement. So in this figure, it shows the use of this approach for a test with possible readings of either positive or negative. So in letter A panel, familiar naman na tayo dito sa A, B, at C, at saka D. Mas napapadali yung compute natin. So, in computing percent agreement, we use the A plus D over A plus B plus C plus D. So, the letter B naman is we compute the percent agreement when examining paired observation between observer 1 and observer 2, considering the cell D. Agreement on negative is very high. So, letter C naman is percent agreement ignoring the cell D. And the letter D is, we use A, B, C for calculation. We will not include the letter D in here. So, ito yung example naman. It illustrates the agreement analysis between two pathologies in grading histologic slides. So, example is there's 41 cases in grade 2 and 27 cases also. And we sum it up. Ayan. And then, to calculate the percent agreement observed, we use the A plus D over the total cases multiplied by 100. So, 41 plus 27 over 75 multiplied by 100. We got this 90.7%. So, pathologists agreed 90.7% on the cases. So, letter C naman is the calculation of expected agreement by chance alone. So, in this part naman is, we use the grade 2 total percentage by A, the 60%, times, we get the grade 2 total by B, 44. is equal to 26.4. Same with the letter D, we got the grade 3 total percentage by A times 31 is equal to 12.4. 26.4 plus 12.4 over 75 multiplied by 100, we got this 51.7%. So after that, we calculate the kappa statistic calculation. It quantifies how much better observed agreement is compared to chance. So here are the formula. Observed agreement minus expected agreement, 100% minus expected agreement. So, ayan. So, nakuha na natin to. So, ang interpretation natin dito as a kappa of 0.81 indicates excellent agreement by chance alone. So, here are the baseline for interpretation. Next one is the differentiate of liability and validity. It refers to the consistency or repeatedly of test results, and validity is it refers to the accuracy of the test. Next one is we analyze this graph. So the horizontal line, it represents a range of values for a specific measurements. So ito yung baseline natin, and the true value, ito yung correct measurement. And yung curve represents the distribution of results from repeated testing. And narrow curve is the shape of the curve is narrow. Indicate test results are consistent and very close together. And this shows that the test is reliable. It indicates it produce similar results each time it is repeated. So, position of the curve is shifted to the side of the true value and not centered. This means that the tests are far from the actual true value, indicating that the test is not valid. So, yung interpretation natin is the test results are reliable because they are consistently close together. Ito. And then the test results are not valid because they do not match the correct measurement. Hindi po kasi siya naka-center dito. Which is the true value is the So that's our end of presentation. Thank you.